because you've got a ready-made audience with parents, grandparents and friends and family. But other than that, the big shows did tend to, because there's so much input needed to them, because even if your show is on for a week, you've got probably 6 weeks of rehearsal, so you're going to have to pay all the actors and all that for that. You've got you need all your sets, your props, costumes and all of that just for a very short run, because somewhere like Hereford you're not going to be able to run a show for 2 months because you just haven't got the audience there.
Most of the people in Hereford will just sing it twice after 2 months.
So big cities, yes, you can make profits, but not surpluses, but not round here.
Well, how does the courtyard survive then?
Grants.
Right.
And corporate sponsorship.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they will try and get a show sponsored, usually by a local company. Again, there's not that many local companies large enough that would put in to the thousands to sponsor a show. They get grant funding from Herefordshire Council, or they did, because that's stopping this year. They used to get quite a lot of money from Herefordshire Council, who obviously want Hereford to have an arts centre of that size. And Arts Council England is the other big funder of venues.
They'll continue to be funded by them?
Yes.
Will they? But, I mean, that's going to impact greatly on them, surely, when the council funding, because isn't that...
Well, when I was there, it was 360,000 a year.
Yes.
And their total income was about 1.5 million, so it's about 20% of their income from everything was the council.
Right.
But they've gradually been reducing that over the years.
Yeah.
So that will be nothing. For smaller performances, because I was involved in Estelle's feral productions, they would try and get a core grant from the Arts Council, which I would say is always your first port of call for money. So they would give a core grant to enable you sort of to carry on and plan these things, and then for specific projects they had a list of sort of about half a dozen little trusts and foundations who tend to give money towards arts projects. So they would say every time they wanted to do something they would approach them and hope that one or two would give some money towards it. But you would always need before you approach them, you would always need a costed budget for the show, so they know what they're funding and how realistic it is. So it's not just a matter of approaching them and saying, "Can you give us 20 grand? We want to do a show." It's well, what you're doing, why you're doing it, where you're doing it, what's going to cost, who's involved. It's all questions like that. What's the benefit to the community?
Yes. A student last year actually put together a sort of hypothetical funding application, and her story was based on Romeo and Juliet, but she made Juliet visually impaired. Yeah. And Estelle said, "Oh, you would just get funding for that immediately." So it's all about the slant to your application, isn't it? In a sense, if you tick all the criteria that they're looking for.
Yeah, because I assume they get far more applications and they've got money, so...
Yes.
So if you can make yours just that little bit different, or a different slant on it, I think that would find favour. I mean, you'd probably apply to half a dozen. You probably won't get all the money you ask for from any of them. They'll probably scale it down, and a lot of them also say, well, we'll give you this if you can get this amount of income from somewhere else, so they'll only want to part. No one's going to turn around and say, yeah, have the lot. A lot of them will say, well, where's your other income going to come from? What are you doing to generate other income? You can't just go to one organisation. So a lot of them will joint fund if you can prove that you can get income from elsewhere.
Any questions so far, girls?
Sorry, I haven't quite... my face still hasn't quite fallen into place yet. I'm not really there.
I mean, just sort of things that I can sort of see what you've got on the screen under the income, if you scroll up, you started on income, scrolled up a bit so you can just see that sort of thing. And you've obviously got your ticket sales. The one complication on that, which I don't know whether we need to get involved with, is VAT.
Yeah.
Because
Can we not? That's so expensive.
cultural events are exempt from VAT. So in theory, you shouldn't have to worry about it, because anything to do with the, or I used to say anything to do with the arts is you can designate it as a cultural event, because obviously an arts centre does a whole range of things, and you don't particularly want to get into an argument about what your idea of what's cultural event might be. What's cultural might be completely different to what I might consider to be cultural. So it's just a lot easier to say, right, everything that the venue puts on, it's cultural, so there's no VAT on ticket sales. So that takes that out of the equation. So yeah, ticket sales is simply price times how many do you think you're going to sell, which obviously depends on your performance space, how many performances you're going to do. I think we used to do it as sort of, you would say, well, you've got 400 seats, you're expecting it to be 50% full for 6 performances, that sort of thing, and that would come into calculation times your ticket price. If you've only got one ticket price, it's obviously easier. If you've got adults, children, family, various ticketing structures, obviously complicates it a bit more. But for a small venue and a simple ticket structure, then that's fine.
So this is really for one performance.
Yes.
This
one small performance.
Yeah.
Do you know the amount of people that have actually asked me if they have to pay though?
Have they?
I'm like, no. Just
Yes, it's
get there early.
£10 a ticket.
Yeah, I know. I should have told them that. I could be
Yeah.
making a tidy commission there.
Yes.
What's this one? Just got one underneath ticket sales. We've got one 6398.
Was
Oh, is that you doing the cost?
yeah.
Cost less ticket sales is what's the balance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So income, ticket sales. What else do we used to do? Program sales, which I presume for something of this size.
Yes,
you would be doing. I mean, if you do a program, you sell them. So.
yes, you've done the programmes actually, haven't you,
Oh,
Lauren?
really? I've just done a bit of paper though.
You haven't finished them.
Yeah, if it's just a
Can't
sheet,
really
just a
sell
sheet of
a
paper,
sheet
you
of
can't really
A4.
sell them. But
But
No
we,
disrespect to your designing skills, Lauren.
not even for 20 pence. 50
I
pence.
think we do need to sell them. I think we need to sell them.
Then we need to make them nicer. No offence, Lauren, but no one's gonna buy a sheet of A4. I'm sorry, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So do you think we need to pay to have them properly printed then, Zizi, on shiny paper?
Well, if we were gonna actually do this, then yeah.
Yes. Okay, so there would be an outgoing then.
Even if we just got some like not photo paper, but like that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Even if it was
Put it
A4,
in the printer,
and
yeah.
folded in the middle, so it's sort of
Yeah.
four
Even if you just
pages.
printed it onto card,
Mm.
it'd be more sellable than a sheet of A4 paper.
I think the idea was to fold it so it's almost like just like you open it. So
Yeah,
it's not just
yeah,
a sheet
like
a little
you
booklet.
open, so you fold it in half.
I'd still say put it on card. If we can, I would say put it on card.
Okay.
But if not, then just don't try and sell them.
But it's hypothetical, Zizi.
Yeah.
So
But would that cost extra though? Actually,
it would
getting
if you
that
sent them to
input in?
print.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You've then
How
got
much
to you've then got to
is
weigh
that?
up, is it worth
Yeah.
printing it?
Because like, would we actually break even on that?
You might not.
Because I
You
don't
might
think,
not.
I'm
No.
not sure you would. Because
I
it's so
mean-
expensive, stuff like that.
No, because I think the only way they do it is is why you see programs that are full of adverts.
Yeah.
If you go
Mm.
anywhere and get a program.
Yeah,
Because
and they're
they
very
need that.
expensive as well, aren't they? They're
Mm.
never less than £3
No, it's
for a
always like
programme.
£4, yeah. It's just so much. Like, I never buy
Go to Birmingham
I'm
or whatever, they can be
cheapskate.
£10-15 for a program.
Can they? Yeah.
But then you get quite a
Yeah,
fat
you can get
booklet,
ones that are
but
like books, yeah.
3/4 of it is it's just adverts and photos, really. There's
Yeah,
not much
no,
else
so
in it.
much of it is photos, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost never buy a programme. because I'm such a cheapskate, and then because of my eyes I can't even read the writing in there anyway, so I'm only looking at the pictures, so I'd sooner just look at someone else's.
Perhaps we won't bother with programmes then.
I wouldn't do that, no.
No, that's just one possibility. Merchandise is what other shows sell, but I presume again because of the size of this there won't be.
We were hoping to sell T-shirts.
Oh yeah, we need to have a word. Literally, Brennan came to Jonesy's last night because I was at a friend's last night. Callum came round and he was like, Cooley is not pulling his finger out.
Oh.
I was like, it's fine. He's going to be getting an earful from me on behalf of Callum Brennan. He's going to be getting an earful from Callum on behalf of himself.
Right.
Because, yeah,
yes.
it's like, sort it out.
The whole performance has well, the title for the performance came from a T-shirt designed by another student who was doing something for a business sort of enterprise group, which was called Live, Love, Laugh.
Yeah.
And so we decided to call the performance that on the strength of that. And he designed a T-shirt, and he was actually supposed to be producing some T-shirts. So we had some merchandise to sell at the show. But this is what ZZ's talking about at the moment. That hasn't actually come through.
Words.
But I mean,
if I see him at the bar tonight, I'll be like, "What do you think you're doing up here?"
we could actually include it in the outgoings and income, because it is a hypothetical budget. We've actually spent nothing, and we're going to make nothing.
Thank God.
But in theory, he was actually talking about selling the T-shirts for £6, which means he was buying them for, I don't know how much he was buying white T-shirts for, and then he was going to screen print them himself. But let's say he was buying a white T-shirt for £3, and then we sell them for £6.
Yeah.
That's 100% profit, isn't it? Which is not to be sniffed at. So say we have 20 in each size, 20 small, 20 medium, 20 large.
So like 60.
Which you buy at £3 each.
Times 3. What even does that make?
Well, no. Income, that would be 60 times 6, therefore, wouldn't it, CZ?
Hello. Like I said, my brain is not there yet.
That's okay.
It's really not.
I'm already lost, I
Well, it's an income.
No, I completely missed what you said, so I have no idea.
Ah.
How much?
£6 income, and it's 60 times £3 in your outgoings.
360? No?
60 times 6 on the income side.
Yeah.
360, yeah?
Yes, that's right.
Trying to do that in my head there, that just wasn't happening.
That's on the income side, but then the cost of them's got to go on there.
We want the outgoing side.
Yeah.
Cost.
So outgoings,
So
60 times 3.
I mean, again, in the courtyards example, being a bigger organisation, if you sell a T-shirt for £6, £1 of that's VAT.
Right.
Because your merchandise doesn't count as a cultural event. The cultural event is literally the cost of the ticket, so anything else, you should be paying VAT on it if you're VAT registered.
So
Well, I
is it
think
60 times
3.
3?
That's what you've got to buy them for,
Woke
haven't
up
you?
easy.
Yeah, I think they should do away with VAT on theatres. If they're going to cut funding so drastically, they have to redress the balance in a way, don't they? If they want theatres to survive. I guess it's more incumbent on the theatres to be a bit more creative about how they find funding in the future, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit like college. It's all
Yeah.
fundraising, business development, partnerships with companies.
Yeah.
ticket sales, merchandise, programs we didn't bother with.
We're going to knock programs off, aren't we?
So the only way to make your budget balance so that you can actually do the show and not run out of money, you're obviously going to need some income from somewhere. So, as I said before, the Arts Council is always a good start, because they fund hundreds of organisations and projects. And then I got a list of ones that Estelle used to use a lot. You've got Herefordshire Council. If it's local, have a local slant. They've given money before.
Would they
Not a
still
lot, but
fund
they will
small
give.
projects
Yeah.
then now?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think Estelle is going to get some funding.
You've got Herefordshire Council. You've got the City Council. She's had some from before.
Yes.
Again, depending on what it is, where it is, and who it's for. And then you've got some of the big trusts and foundations. So you've got Elmley Foundation, Beckett Bulmer Fund, Grassroots.
These are all local.
I think they're all. I think some of them.
They're
I
all
think
on
well,
the
Elmley's
Arts
nationals,
Council. They're all on the Arts Council website.
but it's
Are
all.
they?
But
I think, yeah.
you're all looking for trusts and foundations that focus on the arts.
Because I looked on the Arts Council thing
Yeah.
website to see what the thing was, and if this was actually being budgeted and we actually did have to pay for this, we wouldn't get funding from them because we're students and it's part of our course.
Yeah.
So, you can't fund stuff if it's part of your
No.
course.
Right.
Doesn't happen. I was like, damn.
Oh.
No.
I mean, technically, it's not actually part of me and Lauren's course, the singing
Yeah.
performance, so we could, might be able to swing it.
Yes.
But, if Callum and that applied, then no, it's a no-go.
So I think that's all the income streams
Yes.
I can think of. Yes, you've got live CD. Well, that sort of goes with the merchandising.
Yeah. We've looked at crowdfunding
Yeah.
as well as a. I mean, that's a very modern way of
Yeah.
getting funding for a performance.
Yeah,
isn't
too
it?
modern for me, and never haven't come across that before, so I
No.
wouldn't be able to help with that at all.
No, it's very common though.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's more of a bandy thing. I think people crowdfund when they want to go into the studio, for instance, and they get their fans to pay for them to go and record, and then they give them a free copy of the album at the end of it. So, I suppose it's sort of like taking a punt on something, really. It's like going to the bookies and putting a bet on.
Yeah.
Well, you know what my mum's like knowing like half the people in Bristol, she'd be getting crowdfunding single-handedly. She'd
Would
be like, hey, like just getting everyone she knew in on it, like.
So I think that's probably covered income. What do you think?
Yeah.
Something better.
So we've got this huge
And then you've got loads and loads of expenses
deficit.
because they're very expensive to put on. I mean, like you've got the performers in there. Is how many weeks times the amount per week. There is, and I can't remember what the website is. It's something like theatre managers or it's something to do with theatres, but there is a sort of recommended minimum wage, if you like, for everyone that's involved in shows.
Okay.
Would it be like equity minimum type of thing, or would it be lower than
I
that?
can't remember what it was called, but it wasn't just the actors; it was stage managers and technicians. It was the whole lot of deputy stage managers. It was all musical directors. It was all the positions. It would say what you would be expected to pay.
Yes.
And I think in the past, if you go to the Arts Council and you've got everyone on your budget being paid less than that, they won't fund that. They'll come back to you and say, but you're paying people less than the recommended minimum.
Yes.
We're not supporting that. Because
Right.
they will obviously want their artistes, if you like, and everyone
Yes.
involved to get a decent amount of money out of it.
Yeah. Yes. Now Estelle was telling me about the pantomime. Everybody is on the same,
Yes.
and is that called a company wage? There's a title for it where everybody gets paid the same across the board. So you don't have this sort of hierarchy.
That's all the performers
Yes.
would all get the same.
Yeah.
Or it used to be one level for the actors and one level because they used to have just dancers that weren't dancers stroke actors, they were just dancers and they'd get a little bit less.
Right, I see.
But I think the trend now is that the dancers do as much acting as some of the
Yeah.
actors, so they would all get the same.
Yes, yeah.
I think that is quite, I do take issue to that though, because there was like little kids in that pantomime, the
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast.
I don't think
Oh,
the
they
children,
wouldn't-
they
they
don't
were
get
children, would
paid.
they not get
No, they
paid?
wouldn't
No.
get paid.
No.
Why are they doing that then?
Because they're doing
I
it for the fun of it, Zizi.
Education.
And the
Well,
thrill.
not
Field
be up for
stage.
that.
Yeah, the courtyard.
they're
That's
like-
an experience.
They've got the little people who played the villagers, do you know what I mean? And then they had the main parts. And I'd say, some people would take issue to me saying stuff like this, but I'd say are they really doing as much work as each other?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure they are, I take issue to that.
They probably are all working as hard as each other.
Mm.
I think, yeah, I mean, I'm the same as you, Zizi. Who do you leave the theatre with a lasting image of? Who has the most impact on you in the performance as well as an audience member?
Yeah.
I think that those things need to be taken into consideration as well. And actually, the cast they're not equal.
No,
Some of them
so
have better roles, don't they? Some of them have more lines.
Have a lot more lines.
It all, for me, certainly the last pantomime pivoted completely around the Dame and his sidekick.
Yeah. No, it
And
was
I
very
would say without them, it would have been a shadow of itself, really.
It would have been incredibly different.
So I'm not sure whether that is it's a completely fair way
No,
of doing
take
it.
issue
I
with it
suppose for all the
completely.
people underneath those roles, it would seem fair.
But when you're working, if you put in, X amount, someone else just puts in Y amount, then,
Yeah.
you shouldn't both be paid for doing X amount. Whenever we do just, little events here, your Dining in the Dark, the wine tasting thing, just bits and pieces like that, we all go along because we're tips, get in. So we go along. And I've done a few of these now. And the first year, Dining in the Dark, you had you had a waiter and a waitress to a table. And then whatever that table got, you'd split it between the two of you.
Yes.
You've worked together on that table, that is your money.
Yeah.
Fine, me and Kyle came out nicely with £22 each.
Yeah.
Then, the wine tasting this year and Dining in the Dark this year, apparently now we're splitting tips. I'm not having this. I went from at the wine tasting, from about 33 quid to 21.50. Meanwhile, other people were going from 11, 14 quid to 21.50. I was like, no, this just isn't cool. Because I always make a loss when we split the tips, and it's just, I don't agree with everyone.
So do you think
Because I think if you put in a certain amount of work, so blatantly on those events, I've been putting in more work or more effort with the people that I'm serving than someone that's only getting a tenner.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm speaking to the people on my table, getting them do you know what I mean? I'm working hard to get that.
Yes.
And it blatantly shows in how much they actually give you. And so I'm no, why are we sharing? Because it's just not fair, I don't feel. I think people should be paid for what they do.
It's a tricky one.
I
I
think
mean,
it depends what the actual event is.
I think, it would be
Because-
lovely if we could all be happy to earn the same.
Because those, I think, you get paid how much you work.
If I'm on my feet all night, and then the people who do a bit at the start at front of house and then sit down for the rest of the night get paid the same as me, I'm no.
But if it's an actual show on stage, because I've been in a few in the courtyard, you all have to go to the same amount of rehearsals. You
No, of
put in the
course you
same
do.
amount of effort. So without, I wouldn't say the work, but with those events that you're talking about, then
obviously it's not
the amount of work you put in, you
I'd
should
say
get X amount back.
in response to that, I see what you're, like, I do agree with what you're saying, but I would say that equally, like, if you're not in as many scenes and that, you're not going to be, like, up doing it, like, you're not going to have as much to kind of almost do, if you like. I don't know if that's just me being a bit ignorant, but I would assume that if you don't have as much scenes, then you're not really going to be kind of up doing as much, are you, like, necessarily. If you've only got like a couple of lines, you might not always be kind of working as much. So I don't know, I'd still take issue to that personally.
Yes, yeah. What about if you were setting up your own, say you were setting up a theatre and education company, ZZ? Would you have a blanket amount of money for everybody, or would you structure it so some people got paid more?
I'm not sure, you know, because it would depend who I had on my team.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
And it would depend on like who was a hard worker and who wasn't really.
Yes.
And also their job roles. Like if someone blatantly had a job that should be highly paid and another job, then I'd work that out. Kind of depending on who I had, what they were doing. Do you know what I mean? Because you can have a good financial director or you can have a rubbish financial director. And I know it's not up for me to say if they're good or not, but you know, if they do really well, then you want to give them like a cheeky pay rise. But if not, then they can just stay where they are.
Yeah, and do you think that will encourage people to stay in your company?
I would say if people are rewarded for good work,
yeah,
then yeah.
You need to encourage them to join your company in the first place.
You know,
yeah.
If obviously I'll just make it sound as attractive as I possibly could.
Yeah.
Because that's what like marketing's all about, an advertising job.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to make it sound like it's like the best thing ever. Like, because obviously for my gap year I've been looking at like jobs and stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
And the amount of jobs who are like, yeah, we're a very warm and friendly team and we would love to have someone equally motivated and enthusiastic about this. And they're like, oh my gosh, no, I can't do that. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm as motivated as these people are. I'm a bit scared.
Right. Anyway, all interesting stuff. So, I wonder whether we could perhaps have a go at entering these figures into a spreadsheet. Do you want to have a go at doing that? What do you think? Or is there anything?
I brought these because these are examples of the ones I used to do for Estelle.
Right.
To remind me, because it's been quite a while ago, so I have got these on my system in the office.
Oh, have you? Yeah, it would be good perhaps if you could. I have got some of Estelle's accounts as well. They might be the same ones.
It could be, yeah.
Do you think essentially we've covered everything in our incomes and outgoings?
Outgoings. So you've got performers, musicians, venue hire, director. Was that you?
Yes, that's me.
Director, musical director, designer. It just depends what level of detail you're going down in here. Like most people would have somebody that would design the stage and the costumes.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
Or you don't need that.
Well, we've got technicians, and I think
Yeah,
that covers a multitude of sins.
Because they basically were like, we all just sort of spoke about staging.
Yeah.
And that was that, really.
Yes, we've had a production meeting, and the media team really are the technicians, and they're managing all the staging and stuff like that.
I'm so glad we don't actually have to pay all of this.
What about
Stress me out.
a stage manager or equivalent, or a deputy stage manager or an assistant stage manager? Someone on the side who's telling people where to go, who's doing what.
Yes, we have got some stage. We've got 2 sort of assistant stage managers. Yeah, I think we might need to add them in. Actually, yeah.
How much are we paying them? How much were we paying them? What are they equivalent?
Are they going to be paid the same as the performers, maybe.
Possibly.
I think maybe you need to do a little bit of research to
'cause
find
I'm sure we've
out.
done a bit.
Yeah, it normally depends on sort of what level you've got. Stage,
Yeah.
you can be a stage manager, deputy stage manager, assistant stage manager.
Yes.
It depends how
And
high
as
up
well,
you
they
want to
said-
go.
A lot of the websites that I've looked on, because I have to research like jobs and stuff, on the websites it quite often says like this can vary widely depending on what size of company.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm like, that is just so helpful.
Yeah, you probably don't
Wow.
need a top of the range experienced stage manager on a high pay. You'd probably get away with just sort of a deputy level. But you are talking probably 300, 400 a week.
Have we done it on weeks, or
We did it by rehearsal,
we've done it by rehearsal?
I believe.
So how have you? Sorry, to go back to technicians, you've got 200 times 4. Have we got 4 technicians then?
Where is technicians?
Number
I think
2.
Probably. Yeah.
And then what's the 60 times 8 business then?
Cameramen, I think we said.
What was
That's
it?
what, sorry?
Cameramen. Isn't it?
No, was it? No, wasn't that rehearsals, maybe? I don't know where the 60.
The 4 would be rehearsals, that's what the performers are, and then the 8 is technicians, isn't it?
4 of them at £200 each.
Oh no, I think I know what it was. The 200 was for the night, times 4 for the technicians.
Ah, yes.
The 60 was for all the rehearsals prior to it.
I see. So you're just paying them £60 per rehearsals.
Yeah, because
Right.
it's
Yeah.
only like sort of afternoon, it's only like
Yes,
a couple
yeah.
of hours, yeah.
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 Okay. Well, should we
I
say?
knew we could get to the
Should we
bottom of
pay £60 to each of the
Stage technician.
stage managers?
What for? For the rehearsals?
Yeah.
You might need one for something this size.
We actually need 2
2.
because they're helping people on and off stage and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
How many rehearsals do we have? How many have they been to? Like 4?
yes.
3? Put down 4. Just
Put
to be
down
safe.
4 because we've got the tech tomorrow, haven't we? So that's
Yeah, and then
And what are we? And you're going to pay them £200 for the performance?
yeah. Well, are we? Is that that's excessive,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I thought we did.
200. Huh?
I don't think we put on 200.
You've paid 200 to the technicians, haven't you,
Mm.
for the show?
It is fair because, like, even though they don't look like they're doing much,
Mhm.
they are actually grafting. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Running around, making sure everyone's on and off properly,
Yeah.
plugging things in, pulling things out, moving stuff around.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It is hard work. And then times 2 equals what? Brain. Can someone else do this?
60,
Die.
64s are 240, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that's
240.
plus 400.
No, plus 2. Yeah. 400. Yeah.
How
So
much?
640.
Well done, Zizi.
Wow.
Your brain
Can I have a gold
is
star?
engaged after all.
Can I get
It's
one
somewhere
piece
in
of
there.
that out on my own?
Yeah, please do.
Thank you.
Feel free. I just need a bit of encouragement because that jangle between my ears is not there today.
Now can you add them together, Zizi?
Oh wow! Oh wow! Thanks. We're lovely.
Okay, so we've added some more costs in.
Oh
I'll have to add it
no.
onto the bloody thing. Have you got the total? Have you added up the total?
No.
It's my jangle's not.
How did you add it up before? Did you have a calculator?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's perfectly allowable.
Yeah. And then the maximum really going at the moment.
And the only other line I can think of in the expenses column is that we always used to add in something called contingency, because you can
Yes.
guarantee on shows like this you will overspend. So it's sort of, it's just a contingency. It's just 5-10% of your total costs, just as a buffer.
Well, we've got support in kind, £500.
That's down on the income side as well, I think.
Oh my god. They can't see.
It's just that when shows are sort of approaching, going on stage, and when they're running, there's always things that
Might need to go out and
You
buy
would
some
like.
sequins.
you think, oh, this, especially in rehearsals, you might think, oh, this could be better if we did this.
This could be better if our group gelled together
Spend a
properly.
bit more money.
And it actually sounded nice when we did group songs.
Oh.
That is how it could be better, I feel.
Oh no!
I'm hoping it
Susie.
actually goes well tomorrow.
Oh.
I'm a little bit, a little bit
Are you a little bit
unsure currently.
apprehensive?
Yeah, like,
Oh.
I don't really mind because I'm like, well, I'm not doing the unit, I just want to have a good time with it.
Mm.
But I feel like some of the people that maybe are doing the unit are just not gelling with the rest of the group. And it's just not really falling into place as I kind of hoped it would,
Oh. It's easy. You
I
know
thought-
I'm recording all of this, don't you? And it's
Are
going to
we?
go on your blog.
Hello. Well, that is how I feel, and I'm fine with that because,
That's fine.
I think if the team needs to work together, then they do.
Yes. Well, perhaps we need pep talks
Yeah, I
tomorrow
think we do.
afternoon before the tech.
And as well, I think last week did go so much better than the week before, though.
Yes.
Was it like Monday or Thursday? It went so much better than the week before.
Yeah.
Because, it has improved a lot.
Yes.
But,
Good.
I'm just hoping it will all be great tomorrow.
Yeah, it's quite
Thank you.
a high pressure performance tomorrow because it's going to be live streamed. So there's a lot at stake, really.
Do you want a contingency added in? Shall we?
I think we need to add in a
Right, don't say
contingency.
Oh,
Two.
I would love it.
What do you think a reasonable contingency would
What,
be?
my love? 7 what?
7,000.
Looking at these, it's
Yeah.
normally about
Okay. Yeah.
5% of your
An 80.
approximately, but it's always a round
1
figure.
8.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Gorgie.
7718. So now we need to add in 5% of that.
Oh,
Just roughly, just to the
Roughly.
nearest 100. Is fine. So it's going to be
percentages
3 or 400.
Okay. So if we just add that on,
So you just need
round it up to 8,000.
another line in out
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
outcome
yeah,
saying
yeah.
contingency.
Okay.
You've got to put contingency as
I
a
shall.
line though.
Is a separate line in it.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah. Contingency. So what's 7718 from 3,000?
Contingency 300.
300.
300 it could be.
Yeah.
So what's that going to be then? 7,718 plus 300.
Oh. Yeah. 8. Hang on. Yeah. I thought that's what it would be, but I just wasn't really. I was like, hang on, no, is it? Is it 8,018 or is it 8,118? Wow. I'm so clever this morning. I really am doing well. I didn't sleep very well, so I'm a bit all over the place.
So we
So
have
I think
that's pretty
I
realistic.
think that's
Yeah.
real, isn't it?
Yep. So what was it then? Putting it into a simple Excel
Yeah.
spreadsheet, so that it'll add it all up for you.
Is it just me or is that quite expensive? For a show this size, Like, would you? Like, would it even
I
be
don't
worth
think you
doing?
would actually. I don't think you would actually put this show on in reality.
No, I don't think you would.
just don't think you can claw enough back.
Because as soon as you involve all the different people that have to be involved in it,
It just
is
becomes.
when you start paying them, and you have to
Yeah.
obviously pay them a decent amount.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when it starts to build up. So you really want to put on a sort of one man show.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Like that Oscar Wilde thing I went to see. The big, the De Profundis and the Ballad of Reading Jail. So it's one man piece.
Yeah.
Were they?
From Oscar Wilde's point of view.
Mm.
Oh, it was great. The guy was fantastic. Also, I just like a bit of poetry, so it's great.
Yes, and he's probably actually making a living wage from doing that.
Mm. And then, you only had like a light on him, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes. Yeah, so he's probably got
probably like
maybe
lighting.
not even has his own crew, maybe, just relies
No,
on
I
the
doubt
technicians
it.
at the
Probably
theatre.
the
The
technicians
technicians
at the theatre, I would
Yeah,
have
Yeah.
said.
You go to the theatre, they provide
Yeah, but of course
sound man and a lighting.
you pay for that. As the performers, you pay to go into a theatre, don't you? I mean, the Courtyard, I remember when we went
depends
into
who
the
you are.
Courtyard, it cost us £2,000 for the main house for one night.
If you want to go in as an
Jesus,
outsider to
really?
rent,
Yeah.
to use it to rent,
Yeah.
if you approach them,
Yeah,
then yes, they will charge you to hire the venue. But
Yeah.
But you get the staff with it.
yeah,
But I mean, any professional company that's in there, they obviously get paid for bringing their show.
yes,
Hold on, did you say
Yeah.
it was 2,000
Yeah.
for one night?
yeah. That's what we
God, I
paid.
could get a
It was
really decent
about
holiday for that much.
2000, gosh,
Wow.
when was it? About 2005 maybe, we went to the Courtyard.
Oh my
It used to
Yeah.
It used to be 600 a night plus 10% of your ticket sales.
Oh, did it?
But that was 10 years ago, so I don't
Yeah.
know what it is now.
Yeah. Well, I know we spent a lot of money going into the Courtyard.
Mhm.
Maybe it was because we had to go in and have a rehearsal the day before as well, so we paid for
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you'll pay for every
Well,
day,
Yeah.
every day you have it.
For the
Yeah.
youth theatre, depending on what year you are, the senior youth theatre that I'm in at the moment, that's like £70 a term.
Yeah.
So,
Just so they can actually afford to keep it going, isn't it,
Mhm.
really?
and it's like with like shows, you have to have like.
I would imagine the youth theatre don't have to pay to put productions on in the Courtyard, though,
No.
do they?
No.
No, because they're generating
They're
an
part
income.
Part of the
Yeah,
Courtyard.
yeah.
I had a
Yeah.
word with Mum, by the way. Yeah, I should be
I think
Should
this
be
show
cool to come.
encourages people to join because they know they're going to be on the main stage. They're going to get a chance to be acting on the main stage of the Courtyard.
Yes, yeah. Do you want to get an Excel
So,
spreadsheet? Excel, sorry, not Excel. God, blimey. Have you done this before, Zizi? Have you done
I'll
a
probably
spreadsheet?
a little bit in school, just not for quite a while.
Right.
So yeah, mine was a bit rubbish and stuff.
I mean, all you need to do on Excel is have you normally, well, it doesn't matter which way around, but you normally put your income at the top, list in column A the sources of the income, so that's just a copy from the Word document you had, and then in another column just enter the amounts of money.
The total.
Yeah.
Is that all it needs to be?
I mean, between the narrative and the total, you can put the workings that you've got on the Word document if you want.
But is that needed? Is that like a requirement or no?
If you were sending it off to anyone, then yes,
Yeah.
because they would want to see the calculations
Yeah,
behind
look at that.
behind the
Yeah.
figures.
Okay.
So if you were applying for any money, you'd want to see exactly a breakdown of the numbers. So yeah, so I mean that's all you'd want to do, and then Excel will obviously in the column where the numbers are, will just add it up for you, add up your income, stick all the expenses in, add up all your expenses, one less the other, net deficit to fund
Yeah.
is the bottom line. So if you've got sort of minus 6,000 as the bottom line, that tells you how much you need to find from somewhere. You can start to think where you're going to get it from.